Today's eMoney tip of the week is part 2 on variable annuities. I have found from advisors one of the hardest parts for them to learn to put in eMoney. Quite frankly, for myself, I always forget how to do it because I don't do it often enough. But it's also been the most requested. I've held off on doing it because there's so much information, so it's going to be a multi-part series. This is part 2. If you missed part 1, go to our website, Baritone Advisors. Go and look up eMoney tip of the week number 44, variable annuities part 1. You can also find it on LinkedIn, and you can also just Google it, and you can find our videos we have out there. So, with that being said, we're going to jump right into what we did last time. So we input this annuity. We used Jackson National just because I had just done one not too long ago, Jackson National. So we picked on this. We covered the fees. We covered the asset mix. We talked about when to use fees and when not to. We talked about how to override sub-accounts so that you get the right mix in there. Now we're going to talk about the part that everyone's confused by, is the guarantees. Now, not only did I show you last time, and part of why I'm not in present mode, is that you can go up this help feature up here. But I want you to see this, and I think this is fantastic. This box right here that's in all the time when you're inputting on advanced facts. It's always there. You probably either just didn't pay attention to it, or you just didn't know it was there, so you never read through it. Either way, this gives you step-by-step in there. But there's also this other part. Put your mouse over top of these, and it's going to pop up these great little windows inside here for a lot of this. So it really makes it so if you don't remember it, you can get there. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk to you about, this is so important, by the way. You can go right here for liquidation strategy. You can go right here to click on here to go to transfers. The first part is this withdrawals only one. I have never, and you should probably never, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's going to send me a message that they know a way that they want to use this. But you should always use withdrawals only. Withdrawals only. Withdrawals only. I said it multiple times because it's so important. The one you're going to want to make a decision on is rider's definition versus future-based values. Notice when I click future-based values, different things light up here, right? Excuse me, that didn't happen. So this goes away, and then this lights up here. If we go to rider definitions, this goes away, and this lights up down here. Now, future-based values, real quickly, is going to be fixed inside of here. We're going to want to use rider definitions because most of the times that's what I see. But they both are viable. You got to read the annuities prospectus. So here we say throughout all this, you got to read the annuities prospectus. You got to read the annuities prospectus. You got to see what's in there. If you can't read the prospectus or you don't understand annuities well enough, call the annuity company with the client. They'll walk you through these guarantees. And honestly, sometimes these things will blow your mind. You're like, that doesn't exist because you're using today's annuities. This person might have had this for 15 or 20 years. They might have some kind of crazy rider in there. I've had it happen a couple times where I called in and talked to another person. Like, they didn't know what they were talking about. Also, if you're Googling the prospectus, make sure you look for the right version of that annuity and the right version of that rider. There might be multiple versions of that rider, multiple versions of that annuity. So when I was doing this Jackson National, it was Perspective 2. So I got the prospectus for Perspective 2. There was one called Jackson National Perspective. It was their older version of that. Make sure there's this, if it's state specific, a lot of times New York has different annuities. Just make sure you're getting the right information. So we're going to do rider definition. So the withdrawal rate. So we're going to assume it's a GMWB, not a GMIB. A guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit rider is what this is designed for, what I'm going through right now. A GMIB would be annuitizing it. So we're going to go here, and I'm just going to put 5 as a common one. Now, this is one flaw. Now, I will tell you, eMoney is really good for showing variable annuities, but a lot of these things might say at age 65, they get 5 1/4. At age 63, if they pick this, they get 5%. You're going to have to create a new advanced technique to show each one of those differently. Guaranteed effect for fixed term, last to die, you're going to have to put that in place based upon the rider. A lot of times I see these last to die. You might say, well, Greg, it's an IRA. A lot of times you're still joint inside of an IRA. RMD friendly, that's typically what we're going to see. Now, if you were to go here fixed term, you're going to see the years will pop up in there. Now we're going to go down here, and by the way, this guaranteed annuitization paid out factor, that is, by the way, when you would come up here, and that's going to be a GMWB income only. We're going to show this. So total contributions guaranteed. Yes or no? I'm going to say for this one, yes. Simple or compound? Make sure you pay attention there. That's a big difference there. I see this all the time where somebody, most of them are simple that I've seen. They'll put compound. It's supposed to be simple, and that's going to really change around. So we're going to put it guaranteed on a feature base, say guaranteed return based on, say, 400,000. Contributions, let's put it 7%. That's what I see a lot of times. Current, let's just put that at 400,000. High watermark guarantee, let's put yes. I see that quite often, like it ratchets up. Guaranteed return for high watermark, we're not going to put that in there, but a lot of times we're going to see this current high watermark base value. Let's put this at 400 for right now. We'll go in and look at that contract, see what it is. The benefit caps, I typically see these a lot of times where it might double, but you got to put in what it is. And the guaranteed benefit cap, there's usually like an age. A lot of times you'll see 80, 85, 78. Just pay attention to what the rider says. Are total contributions guaranteed? Yes or no? In this case, let's put yes. Or excuse me. This part right here is for death benefits. I typically don't see death benefits and an income benefit the same. Maybe you have them in there, maybe you don't. Really important for estate planning purposes to have that in there. I don't typically see that. This is a Jackson National. I've seen it with Jackson. I've seen it with AXA. I'm sure there's other annuity companies out there that have it. Just make sure you pay attention to what the client has and what the advisor picked for them. Or if it's an annuity you're recommending or an annuity you recommend it, make sure you know what you put in there. So now we have that in there. Are we done yet? No. So this is where we're going to have to go into advanced. I like to stay in base. We're going to advance. You can also click on here if you didn't hit done like I did. You could have gone over here to the right hand side and you could have picked this column here. Alright, but we're going to go back to this. And this is where people mess up all the time. They call me and say, Greg, this annuity's not showing up correctly. Usually I'll say, did you look at that chart I sent you? Oh, no, I didn't. They didn't follow it. Or two, they didn't put this step in. So again, we're going to go in advanced and we're going to go down to savings and transfers. We're going to add a transfer in here. So add a transfer flow. I like to call this something along the lines of income rider, right? Or using the income rider on annuity, whatever you name it, just make sure you know what it is. We're going to skip straight down. We're going to go to this bottom. See where it says guaranteed annuity withdrawal benefit. Yes. If you don't put that in there, it's not going to use the guarantees that are associated with it. Where's it coming from? Jackson National. We're going to put it in the core cash. When's it going to start? We're going to do Pamela 65, and we're going to end at second death. Now, if you put it out here for first death or second death, it's going to go based upon. So if you did second death and the rider's only for the first death, that's not going to be a problem because the rider's only going to give the guarantees. Then it's going to Monte Carlo after that. So, again, this is really important. You have this transfer flow in. If you don't have this transfer flow in, it's not going to show it. And my next tip of the week for next week, I'm going to show you how to model these differently. But what I want to show you right now is we're going to go into reports and we're going to go into cash flow. If you were showing this transfer and showing this, in a technique, or now they're called plans, then you're going to want to click on the one that you have inside of here. But let's go down here and let's go to plan distributions. And you're going to notice in the plan distributions, when you click on this, typically you only see RMDs. So you see his 401k and Pam's 401k. But you're going to see this Jackson National. Now you might say, why is it 40-40? This is based upon the high water marks and based upon what we were showing inside here. But this is also a RMD friendly. So this is straight cash flow. This is not Monte Carlo or cash flows. So it's showing those guarantees, or should be showing the policies growing by the flat rate. It's like 9% in there with the growth that I used last time. So it's showing these major RMDs inside of here. When we're Monte Carlo, it's not always going to show that, right? So you can go look at the individual Monte Carlos, but really important to understand what that is. And it's not always going to be that way. That's because of the high guarantees. Now that we know how to put the guarantees in, now that we've seen it work, I'm going to show you how to illustrate this to a client and show you how to do some techniques inside of plans. That's coming up on next week's eMoney Tip of the Week in Part 3. We hope this tip helped educate and empower you to do more plans for your clients so that you can impact more lives through financial planning. If you have some great tips we don't know about, we'd love to hear about them. If you have a better way of doing what we just showed you, we'd love to hear about that, because we are a noble profession, and together we can elevate the